So initially I had planned to make a video about all new, all different Deadpool. But instead, what I want to do here is make a video about Deadpool versus Thanos. And the reason why is because this story is amazing. And I'm hoping that at the end of the next several videos, even if you're not the biggest fans of Deadpool, you'll have at least had a good time. So Deadpool vs. Thanos was written by Tim Seeley, who was also responsible for Guardians of the Galaxy, the best story ever, and is actually an in-continuity story taking place prior to Secret Wars and the collapse of the multiverse. Like many Deadpool stories, we're not given an explicit time, which is to say that it takes place between two particular issues, but because most of his comics are standalone, we can probably get away with saying that it could take place between any of the events of his comics from 2010 to 2011. Now, as we get into this, the one thing I want to do is set the stage for this story by having a discussion on the relationship between Deadpool, Thanos, and Mistress Death. The reason why is because this story will largely draw on existing information from previous stories, and so it makes sense that we simply need to provide a little bit of context. Beginning with Deadpool, his relationship with Mistress Death actually came during a retcon with Deadpool Annual in 1998. Now, if you're looking for a more comprehensive discussion regarding this story, as well as the idea of Deadpool, Mistress Death, and Thanos regarding their whole love triangle, I have a video on that you're welcome to check out. But the overarching theme here is that during his time under the Weapon X project, which granted him his healing factor, Wade had formed a relationship with Mistress Death, who promised that the two would be together when he finally died. However, at the moment when he was supposed to cross over, his healing factor kicked in, keeping the two separated from one another. Now, the other half of this equation is Thanos, and is one of the most well-known villains in comics thanks to stories like Infinity Gauntlet and Marvel The End, as well as his highly anticipated appearance in Avengers Infinity War. A major part of his character's development has been his pursuit of Mistress Death's love. Whereas early appearances in the Captain Marvel comics as well as the Thanos quest and Infinity Gauntlet depicted this as an unexplained aspect of his character, with Jason Aaron's 2013 miniseries Thanos Rising, the relationship between the two dated back to his childhood, with his actions being guided by Death to fulfill her own sadistic desires. During the story, Thanos had spent decades seeding his own children only to turn around and kill them all, travel to his homeworld and wipe out his own race due to the manipulations of Death, all of which went towards creating an unrequited love which she would never return. Now, the love triangle between Mistress Death, Deadpool, and Thanos came into full swing in the 2002 four-part miniseries titled Funeral for a Freak, where Deadpool faced the prospect of dying once again after being blown up with only his hand remaining. At the end of the story, it was revealed that Thanos had cursed him with immortality out of jealousy that Deadpool was bumping uglies with Mistress Death, and so as a result, Deadpool had simply healed from his hand and returned to life. And so as we get into Deadpool vs. Thanos, the story actually picks up in a place called St. Cynthia Island. Appearing for the first time in this story, the island is owned by Dr. Doom and was created as a tribute to his mother. As a bit of a refresher, in our video on Victor Von Doom, we had discussed that his mother was a Romani living in Europe at the turn of the century and had sold her soul to the demon Mephisto in return for knowledge on black magic. Where she was eventually killed, Doom's early exploits in learning about magic and power were all rooted in his drive to free his mother's soul. While he was unsuccessful and she was destined to spend eternity in the demon realm of Mephisto, this island represents his attempt to keep her memory alive, even if only for himself. And so with Deadpool arriving on the island and knocking on Doom's door, Victor is treated to a shot in honor of his arrival. Unfortunately, instead of the shot coming in the form of a wine or a nice glass of cognac, instead, it comes in the form of a 12-gauge shotgun. Presumably having been assigned the task of killing Doom, although we're not really told why, the indication seems to be that Deadpool simply wanted to prove that he could do something none of the Avengers could. This is highlighted in the fact that Deadpool actually calls Stark Industries, and after reaching the receptionist but learning that neither Tony Stark nor Thor are present, leaves a message stating that he was successfully able to kill the actual Victor Von Doom rather than one of his Doombot clones. However, in the midst of his conversation, the story starts to set up when Doom comes back to life. Now, when Deadpool asks Doom how it is that he is alive, Victor provides us with a dying experience, which is something that we haven't really seen before. What I mean here is that while various individuals like the original Captain Marvel and Jean Grey have died, the in-comic depiction of their death is usually just them approaching a white light. What Doom tells us is that his experience was that when he died, he felt a sudden rush of pain, saw darkness followed by his childhood home, and then was suddenly returned to life. And so with Doom attacking Wade with a blast of energy, Deadpool celebrates that with his death, he'll be able to be with his bae. Now, for those who don't know, bae is an acronym for the phrase before anyone else, meaning that Mistress Death is his main squeeze. Now, picking up in the realm between life and death, we join Deadpool as he wears a combination of the greatest mustache and afro ever seen by human eyes. Setting the mood by opening a bottle of champagne and putting it on ice, Deadpool is met with the arrival of Mistress Death on the opposite side of a mirror. Now what this section of the story does is tell us that the reason why Dr. Doom had returned to life after Deadpool shot him is because that Mistress Death is missing and was unable to take Doom to her realm. At this point, we jump to a man named Black Talon, and to be honest, this guy is really just crazy more so than anything else. The real name of Black Talon is Desmond Drew, and he exists as somewhat of a cult leader in the Caribbean. While he isn't really able to demonstrate powers of voodoo on any scale that matters, his mother, Mama Limbo, is an accomplished voodoo priest capable of resurrecting the dead, hence the reason why you see zombies present. The reason why Deadpool is here is explained when he states that following the death and resurrection of Doom, he came under the belief that Black Talon or his mother had cast some kind of curse on humanity that kept them from dying. However, Black Talon reveals that both Thor and Doctor Strange had come looking for him under the same suspicions, with Thor actually tearing his house apart. Now where Black Talon admits that he doesn't know any sort of magic that dark or strong, something that writer Tim Seeley does with this story is also bring up the notion that Deadpool is cursed. What's interesting about this is that up until this moment, Deadpool never knew that Thanos had cursed him with immortality. Instead, every time Deadpool died and returned to life, he simply just chalked it up to his healing factor. And so as a result, and for reasons that only make sense to him, Deadpool connects the dots and comes up with the idea that Thanos had kidnapped Mistress Death, resulting in the inability for anyone to die. Now where Black Talon offers to use his powers to trace where it is that Thanos is gone, Deadpool agrees, but has also developed a plan of his own. According to Wade, the plan comes in 4 stages. Stage 1 involves Black Talon using his magic to locate Thanos. Stage 2 requires that Black Talon uses magic to steer Dr. Doom in the direction of the Avengers to keep them from trying to figure out why people aren't dying. Stage 3 involves Deadpool acquiring a ship from Cable, and Stage 4 ends with the death of Thanos and Deadpool making sweet, sweet love to Mistress Death. Now where Black Talon states that defeating Thanos will be difficult due to the fact that he's so powerful, Deadpool makes the case that because he routinely outsells Superman due to his popularity while Thanos is just a miserable grump, Deadpool is guaranteed to come out on top because that's how the story's written. At this point, we join Deadpool as he's getting smashed into a bloody puddle by Thanos. According to the Mad Titan, his hatred for humanity extends to the fact that humans by nature consider themselves to be the center of existence. At the same time, Thanos has grown tired of Deadpool and his antics getting in the way of Thanos' pursuit of Mistress Death's affections. As a result, he ends the curse placed upon Deadpool, which had kept him immortal and in the process, quite literally, beats him to death with his bare hands. Now picking up again in the space between life and death, which is now being depicted as a massive ice landmass, Deadpool is visited by Mistress Death a second time in her efforts to plead with him to save her. Now the cool thing about these depictions of the space between life and death is that it's entirely reflective of the person's own views at the time they died. In this instance, Deadpool having died at the hands of Thanos coupled with Mistress Death missing exemplify itself in that this place is barren, indicating that Deadpool himself believes things are hopeless. This is compounded on when he makes a statement that he believes he failed Mistress Death. But because she has such a strong attraction to Deadpool, she makes the case that he has to find a way due to the fact that despite his life being surrounded by darkness and that he lives a life of murder, he always finds his way back to the light, and that he's brave and willing to go to the limit for the things that he cares about. At this point, the story transitions to a couple of events that will come to their fruition in the second and third issues. But what we do here is we jump back to Black Talon. Because his island is largely inhabited by zombies, they've apparently been meeting in secret and have come to the conclusion that because no one is able to die, the living are now on par with the undead since no one can die. As such, they've begun to picket demanding equal rights and treatment. Now while this isn't extremely important, the significance of this moment comes when the scene is met with the arrival of Ajax. As Deadpool's arch-nemesis and introduced during the Joe Kelly run from 1997 with issue number 14, Ajax's arrival comes due to his pursuit of Deadpool. From here, we jump to the science station of Nowhere in Starlin's Bar. As a funny aside, Starlin's Bar is actually named after Jim Starlin, who had made the cosmic opera in Marvel Comics popular due to Infinity Gauntlet. But within the bar itself is one of the Blood Brothers as well as the Guardians of the Galaxy. As one half of a duo that served Thanos for a time during his early appearances, the current Blood Brother had lost his twin during a fight with Drax the Destroyer. As a result, with the inhabitants of the universe unable to die, the belief of the Blood Brother is that his twin may return. But because he has ties with Thanos and is likely aware of where Thanos is located, he's attacked from behind by Star-Lord with the intention of finding Thanos' location. Now joining back with Deadpool and Thanos himself, we get some pretty important information regarding Wade's ability to die. What we're told is that when Thanos had previously cursed him, he had removed Deadpool's ability to die from the control of Mistress Death and bound it to Thanos himself. As such, Thanos is the only one who can kill Deadpool. What this means is that it's not impossible for individuals to be transitioned to the realm of death. The issue here is that Mistress Death herself can't be the one to do it. And so to this end, when Thanos had beaten Wade to death, he used his experience as a way to monitor the conversation between Wade and Mistress Death to gain a better understanding of what was happening, but also to inform Death that he had killed Deadpool to prove his affections for her. While Mistress Death ultimately chose Deadpool over Thanos due to the fact that she had appeared to Wade in her pleads for safety and also referred to him as her one true love, Thanos makes the statement that he intends to gain the affections of Mistress Death by rescuing her. However, because the clues to her location rest in the mind of Deadpool, Thanos needs him to achieve his own goal. And so offering Deadpool a handful of jewels as payment for his assistance, Deadpool ultimately turns the offering down in favor of the fact that the mission to save Mistress Death is a personal one, which he will happily undertake for free. With that being said, we're going to bring this video to an end, and let me know down in the comments section what you guys think about this story so far. And I will catch you guys later. Peace.